And we are live. Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and I'm reviewing Ka-Pow today by Wes Craig. And there's a little bit in the back where he talks about like how it was for him to make this comic book, and he runs through a little list of reasons why you might be picking it up. And I'm very much in the I really like Deadly Class group of people here. It is an absolutely brilliant comic book I've been reading for a while, and if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I will occasionally share a random bit of artwork from that book, so I'm reading it at home because it is amazing. I'm up to volume 11 in the trades, and the next one is the final one. I can't wait for it, but also don't really want it to end. But one of the reasons I do kind of want it to end was that Wes Craig was going to do this. He was going to do Ka-Pow. He basically, if you read the stuff at the back, he's been talking about wanting to do something for a while. He's gone and done other things where he was the writer and somebody else was the artist. But this is him in complete creative control. And because of that, it's really quite easy to talk about because you don't really have to worry about like influences and where people are working well together. I mean, there's some excellent coloring. Absolutely, there is. Absolutely jumps off the page. But I'm fairly sure this is the kind of stuff where, as an artist, he would know what he's talking about and get the people who work with him who are going to put his vision on the page in the most effective way possible. And we're going to talk about the artwork first because it's Wes Craig. He's an artist. First and foremost, to me, that's what he's always going to be. And I think this really shows in this comic book. Unlike Deadly Class, he does things a little bit more simpler in this one. I want to say I mostly mean in terms of page layouts. If you've read Deadly Class, you know there's some absolutely immaculate, intricate pages, splash or otherwise, where there's just so much going on and so much in terms of panels and movement where your eyes drawn around the page in certain ways that just illuminate the story way better than just a standard 9 or in this case 12 panel grid will do. But in this one, where he does lean more heavily into a 12-panel grid, he also does that thing which I like. I wish I knew there was a name for it, where effectively you just remove some of the guttering and change the different shapes and sizes of the panels. But all, for the most part, still fits within that kind of basic structure. And it gives you some options, but it also keeps it feeling slightly more traditional and part of like the history of comic books, which was quite nice as well. Because the story is actually a very classic kind of idea. It's big, epic fantasy. This is a good thing, but it also means I think Wes is putting a lot in this, and I'm hoping like hell it gets picked up and carries on for a long time. He does say he wants this to run for a long time, and I think it should. The fact that it is hopefully going to run for a long time is one of the few reasons why I'm more likely to pick up in trade than single issues, because I think it's going to be better read as big, longer epics. But it is very much a hero's journey kind of story. It falls into some nice, easy tropes, but in ways that I quite like. We have this idea that there's two siblings whose family, their town or village has been completely destroyed. The young brother is the prince, and he's got an older sister who kicks ass and saves his life all the time. And he's kind of annoying and whiny, but he has his destiny. He is the golden child. And if he can get to the end of this journey and figure out how to reinvigorate humanity and put them back on top of the socioeconomic ladder. But there's so much stuff in here which is kind of so obviously tropey that it makes me feel like that's not what's going to happen. And this is not a criticism. I actually think this is really nicely done. It takes these ideas, an understanding of form, and the history of the epic adventure fantasy kind of thing, and does something with it slightly differently. Like the fact that I don't think they're going to get to the end and they're going to find out that the golden child is going to save her. I think it feels like that's too easy. It honestly feels like the long epic journey, and then putting humanity back on top of the socio-political ladder is the journey and the friends you make along the way. Because there's so much going on in this world that's really done quite nicely. You have an awful lot of world building. And here we get to pretty much my only actual criticism in the entire comic book, and it is a minor, small, insignificant criticism, but it's there, and I do feel like it needs to be mentioned. There's so much additional stuff going on in here in terms of who a lot of these people are and the intertwining of relationships and the state of the world, that it does occasionally have a told not shown kind of feel to it, but I think it's an one issue where he's basically trying to make sure that everything is set up for the next few issues, and we know what's going on and where motivations lie and why stuff is important, and he wanted to make sure this was all out there front and center. But we're now going to go to one of my favorite things about the comic book, and it comes from an old thing when I used to do art in high school. Teacher told us to basically draw the wind, which is a tricky thing to do. I think you'll agree. And mine was like a really simple, just a guy flying a kite, dead easy. But it is something I always look for in comic books because it's comic books as a medium, it has its own challenges, but it also has things that can make it absolutely stand out. For instance, how to do movement in a static image. It's something I talk about a lot because it's one of my favorite things that a good artist can do well. Wes Craig draws the wind just so well. My favorite moment is Kaya with her arm up blocking the wind and the sand. No individual sand grains drawn, just understanding that is what's going on, and you can see in the cut of her eyes and the way her body seems to be buckling against the wind. It's amazing. And it's like in the first few pages, and it sets you up so much for everything else that's good, great, and amazing about this book. I really hope you're looking to get a copy of it. I don't think anyone's going to be let down by this one. But that's it from me for now. I'm going to come back later on today with another review of something which is a bit more random. But until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.